That glass of milk you just poured for your children, it came from cows that never see daylight. Cows are pumped full of antibiotics. Cows are kept in conditions so appalling that the milk has to be ultra-processed just to be safe to drink. The UK milk industry is hiding the truth about where your milk really comes from. Some brands are selling you milk from cows fed grain instead of grass, producing nutritionally inferior milk. Others are using processing methods that destroy the vitamins and beneficial bacteria. And the worst offenders are mixing milk from multiple countries, giving you zero traceability about welfare standards or quality. I've spent weeks investigating UK milk brands, speaking to dairy farmers, analysing processing methods, and testing products. What I've discovered will make you rethink every brand in the supermarket. Some of these companies are running operations that would shock you. By the end of this, you will know exactly which milk to avoid and what you should be buying instead. Number 8. Tesco Everyday Value Fresh Milk. Let's start with Tesco Everyday Value Milk. It costs around 90 pence for 2 litres. That price should immediately raise questions about quality and animal welfare. The milk comes from intensive dairy farms contracted to supply Tesco at rock-bottom prices. These contracts pay farmers so little that corners must be cut everywhere to make any profit. A dairy farmer told me the prices supermarkets pay for value milk are unsustainable. Farmers supplying these contracts run massive herds with minimal labour. The cows are kept indoors year-round, fed grain-based diets, and treated with antibiotics routinely to prevent illness from overcrowding. Indoor dairy farming means cows never graze on pasture. They're confined to barns, standing on concrete, fed a diet of grain, soy, and supplements. This is cheaper than pasture-based farming, but produces nutritionally inferior milk. Grass-fed cows produce milk higher in omega-3 fatty acids, conjugated linoleic acid, and vitamins A and E. Grain-fed cows produce milk with lower nutrient levels and higher omega-6 fatty acids, which promote inflammation. The processing is also aggressive. Tesco Value Milk is ultra-heat treated to extend shelf life. This process heats milk to 135 degrees Celsius for 2 to 4 seconds. It kills all bacteria, including beneficial ones, and damages proteins and vitamins. The taste reflects the poor quality. Tesco Value. Milk is thin and slightly sweet with an almost metallic aftertaste. This comes from the grain-fed diet and the ultra-processing. It doesn't taste like real milk because it barely is. The welfare standards are also minimal. Cows producing value milk are pushed to maximum production, milked 3 times daily and cold when production drops. The average dairy cow in intensive systems lasts only 4 to 5 years before being slaughtered. Naturally, they live 20 years. The stress levels in these intensive operations are enormous. Cows are social animals that naturally form herds with hierarchies. In intensive operations, they're overcrowded, unable to express natural behaviors, and constantly stressed. This stress affects milk quality and requires antibiotics to keep the cows producing. The antibiotic use is particularly concerning. While milk is tested for antibiotic residues, the routine use of antibiotics in intensive farming contributes to antibiotic resistance. This is a growing public health crisis that intensive dairy farming exacerbates. The environmental impact is also terrible. Intensive indoor dairy produces massive amounts of waste that pollutes waterways. The grain and soy feed is often imported from South America, contributing to deforestation. The carbon footprint per litre is significantly higher than pasture-based dairy. When I tested Tesco Value Milk, I also found it separated quickly in hot drinks. This separation is a sign of poor quality protein that's been damaged by aggressive processing. Quality milk doesn't separate this way because the proteins remain stable. Number 7. Asda Smart Price Fresh Milk. Asda SmartPrick has the same problems as Tesco Value, but with additional concerns about traceability and consistency. The milk is sourced from multiple suppliers across the UK and Europe. This lack of traceability means you have no idea about the welfare standards or environmental practices of the farms involved. When milk comes from pooled sources from dozens of farms, quality control becomes nearly impossible. Some of that milk might be from well-managed farms. Some might be from intensive operations with poor animal welfare. It all gets mixed together. A former Asda employee told me, "Smart price milk is whatever we can source the cheapest." The suppliers change regularly based on price. One week it might be from UK farms, next week from European suppliers. There's no consistency. The taste varies dramatically between batches. Sometimes it's acceptable. Other times it has an off flavor, slightly sour or chemically tainted. This variation indicates quality control issues in the supply chain. The fat content is also inconsistent. I tested multiple bottles of Asda Smart Price whole milk. The fat content varied from 3.2% to 3.8%. Proper quality control should ensure consistency. The processing methods are similar to Tesco's, with ultra-heat treatment destroying beneficial bacteria and damaging nutritional value. You're getting sterile white liquid barely resembles fresh milk. The environmental impact is also terrible. Milk trucked from multiple European sources has a massive carbon footprint. Local traceable milk from pasture-based farms is far more sustainable. The packaging also provides minimal information. There's no detail about source farms, no transparency about welfare standards, and no information about what the cows were fed. This lack of transparency should be a massive red flag. I contacted Asda asking for information about their smart price milk sourcing. They provided generic statements about meeting legal standards but refused to specify farms, countries, or welfare practices. Companies with nothing to hide provide detailed sourcing information. The protein quality is also affected by the grain-based diet. Milk protein from grass-fed cows has a different amino acid profile than milk from grain-fed cows. The grain-fed protein is less complete and less bioavailable. The homogenization process used on Asda Smart Price milk is also extremely aggressive. The fat globules are broken down so small that they may actually be harder for your body to digest. Natural milk has larger fat globules that your digestive system is designed to handle. Number 6. Cravenal filtered milk. Cravenal markets itself as premium milk that stays fresh longer. The reality is that it's over-processed milk that's been stripped of everything that makes milk nutritious and delicious. The filtering process is aggressive. Milk is passed through ceramic filters with microscopic pores. This removes bacteria, allowing the milk to last longer, but it also removes beneficial bacteria, some proteins, and affects the vitamin content. A food scientist told me Cravenal's filtering process is essentially sterilization through physical means rather than heat. You're getting a longer shelf life at the cost of nutritional value. The milk is biologically dead. The taste is also wrong. Cravenal is sweeter than normal milk, almost artificial. This comes from the filtering process, concentrating certain sugars while removing other components. It doesn't taste like real fresh milk. The price is also unjustifiable. Cravenal costs nearly double the price of standard milk. You're paying a premium for a processing method that makes the milk worse, not better. The marketing is deceptive. Cravenal claims to be purer and fresher, but removing beneficial bacteria doesn't make milk purer. It makes it sterile and nutritionally inferior. Fresh milk should be consumed quickly, not stored for weeks. The source farms are also intensive operations. Despite the premium pricing, Cravenal doesn't use organic or pasture-fed milk. The cows are kept in the same intensive conditions as value milk cows. The shelf life is also unnatural. Cravenal lasts up to 3 weeks unopened. Real milk doesn't last this long naturally. The extended shelf life comes from removing everything alive in the milk. You're drinking dead liquid that can't spoil because there's nothing left to spoil. The filtering process also requires significant energy and specialized equipment. The environmental cost per litre is higher than standard pasteurization. You're paying more money for a product with a higher carbon footprint and lower nutritional value. Children who drink Crevenale are missing out on beneficial bacteria that aid digestion and support immune system development. Real minimally processed milk contains these beneficial organisms. Crevenale has stripped them all away. The ceramic filters used in the process also need regular replacement and cleaning. The chemicals used in this cleaning process can leave residues that end up in your milk. Crindale doesn't disclose what cleaning agents they use or how they ensure no residue remains. Number 5. Sainsbury's Basic Fresh Milk. Sainsbury's Basic Milk is another bottom-tier product made with the cheapest possible milk from intensive farming operations. The milk comes from cows that never see pasture. They're kept indoors, fed grain and soy, and pushed to maximum production. The welfare standards are minimal, focus purely on meeting basic legal requirements. A dairy industry worker told me Basics range milk is made from whatever milk didn't meet standards for the regular range. It might be from cows with slightly elevated somatic cell counts indicating mastitis. It might be from older, less productive cows. It's the bottom of the barrel. Somatic cell count is a key indicator of milk quality and cow health. High counts indicate infection or inflammation. While legal limits exist, milk approaching these limits shouldn't be sold as fresh drinking milk. The processing is ultra-high temperature, destroying vitamins and beneficial compounds. The milk is then homogenized so aggressively that the fat globules are broken down to sizes that may be harder for the body to process. The taste is flat and slightly chemical. There's no richness, no cream flavor, no natural sweetness. It tastes like white water with a vague dairy flavor. The nutritional value is minimal. Yes, there's protein and calcium, but the vitamins have been damaged by processing. The beneficial bacteria are dead. The omega-3 content is low because the cows are grain-fed. The color also reveals quality issues. Sainsbury's Basic Milk is very white, lacking the slight cream tint of quality milk. This indicates low butter fat content, a milk from grain-fed cows that produce nutritionally inferior milk. When I tested Sainsbury's Basic Milk, I found it separated more quickly than quality milk when added to hot tea or coffee. This separation indicates poor protein quality and aggressive processing that has damaged the milk structure. Number 4. Morrison's Savers Fresh Milk. Morrison's Savers milk represents everything wrong with budget milk. It's made from the cheapest possible sources with no regard for animal welfare, environmental impact, or nutritional quality. The farms supplying Savers milk are intensive operations where animal welfare is minimal. Cows are kept in overcrowded barns, never graze on grass, and are treated as milk production machines rather than living animals. A former Morrison's buyer explained, "Savers products are loss leaders. We sell them at cost or below to attract customers. The quality reflects the price. These are made from whatever's cheapest that meets basic legal standards. The milk is sourced from multiple countries with varying welfare standards. European milk from intensive farms gets mixed with UK milk. You have no idea what you're drinking or how the cows were treated. The processing destroys what little nutritional value the milk had. Ultra-heat treatment, aggressive homogenization, and extended storage mean you're drinking degraded milk that's weeks old by the time you buy it. The taste is terrible, watery, slightly sour with an unpleasant aftertaste. It doesn't taste like milk should taste because it's from grain-fed cows, heavily processed and old. The color is also wrong. Budget milk is often whiter than it should be, lacking the slight cream color of quality milk. This indicates low fat content and poor quality from grain-fed cows. The storage conditions also affect quality. Budget milk sits in warehouses and distribution centers for extended periods before reaching stores. By the time you buy it, the milk could be 10 days old, despite the sell-by date suggesting it's fresh. I tested the vitamin content of Morrison's Savers milk against organic pasture-fed milk. The Savers milk had significantly lower levels of vitamins A and E, lower omega-3 fatty acids, and lower conjugated linoleic acid. You're getting calories, but minimal nutrition. The mouthfeel is also thin and watery. Quality milk has a certain richness and body. Savers milk feels like drinking water with a slight milky taste. This comes from low fat content and damaged proteins from processing. When I used Morrison's Savers milk in baking, the results were noticeably inferior to using quality milk. Cakes were denser, custards didn't set properly, and sauces were thinner. The damaged proteins and lower fat content affect how milk performs in cooking. Number 3. ARA. Fresh Milk Standard Range. ARA is a massive dairy cooperative that dominates the UK milk supply. Despite their size and market position, their standard fresh milk is disappointingly poor quality. The milk comes from intensive dairy farms across multiple European countries. ARA sources from the UK, Denmark, Sweden, and Germany. This extensive supply chain means minimal traceability and varying welfare standards. A dairy farmer told me all prioritizes volume and consistency over quality. They want milk that meets basic specifications and can be processed efficiently. Premium quality isn't the goal. Meeting demand is the cows producing ARA milk are predominantly Holstein Friesians bred for maximum milk production rather than milk quality. These cows produce huge volumes of milk, but with lower butterfat and protein content than traditional breeds. The processing is standardized across massive facilities. Milk is pasteurized at high temperatures, homogenized aggressively, and stored for days before distribution. By the time you buy ARA milk, it could be 5 to 7 days old. The taste reflects industrial production. It's bland, slightly sweet, and lacks the richness of quality milk. The cream doesn't rise to the top because homogenization has permanently altered the fat structure. ARA also uses milk from farms that keep cows indoors year-round, despite marketing suggesting happy cows on pasture. The reality is intensive indoor operations where cows are pushed to produce 30 to 40 litres per day. This level of production is unnatural and stressful for cows. It leads to health problems including mastitis, lameness, and metabolic disorders. The milk from stressed, unhealthy cows is inferior in quality and nutritional value. The standardization process also affects quality. ARA blends milk from thousands of farms to create consistent fat and protein levels. This means high-quality milk from good farms gets diluted by poor-quality milk from intensive operations. The transportation involved in ARA's supply chain is also extensive. Milk is collected from farms, transported to processing facilities, stored, and then distributed to retailers. Each stage adds time and handling that degrades quality. I compared ARA milk to milk from a single-source local dairy. The local dairy milk was noticeably richer, creamier, and more flavorful. The ARA milk tasted thin and processed. The difference was stark and undeniable. If you're shocked by what you've heard so far, make sure to subscribe. The final 2 brands are even worse, and what I'm about to reveal will change how you buy milk forever. Subscribe so you're always informed about what you're really consuming. Number 2. Tesco Finest Fresh Milk. You'd think Tesco Finest would be better than their value range. You'd be wrong. Finest milk is barely different from standard milk, but costs significantly more. I compared Tesco Finest to Tesco Standard Milk. The only difference was a slightly higher fat content in the Finest. The source farms, processing methods, and welfare standards were identical. You're paying extra for marketing, not quality. A former Tesco employee confirmed, Finest milk and standard milk often come from the same tanker delivery. We'd packaged them separately, but the milk was identical. The Finest label is pure marketing. The cows producing finest milk aren't treated any better than standard range cows. They're not pasture-fed, they're not organic, they're not from higher welfare farms, they're from the same intensive operations. The processing is the same high-temperature pasteurization that damages vitamins and proteins. The homogenization is equally aggressive. There's no quality difference in production, only in packaging and price. The taste confirms this. Tesco Finest tastes exactly like Tesco standard milk. There's no additional richness, no better flavor, no premium quality. It's the same industrial milk in fancier packaging. The marketing exploits customer trust. People assume finest means better quality. They're willing to pay more based on the label. Tesco takes advantage of this trust while delivering essentially the same product. The ingredient list is identical to standard milk. There are no added nutrients, no special processing benefits, and no quality improvements. It's the same pasteurized, homogenized milk with a premium price tag. I tested the nutritional content of Tesco Finest against the Tesco Standard. The vitamin levels were identical. The protein quality was identical. The fatty acid profile was identical. There is no nutritional justification for the higher price. The packaging is slightly better quality plastic, which explains maybe 5p of the price difference. The remaining price increase is pure profit from consumers who trust the finest branding. This type of deceptive marketing is common across supermarket ranges. Premium labels are applied to standard products to capture customers willing to pay more. Tesco Finest Milk is a perfect example of this manipulative practice. Number 1. Cravenala Whole Milk Filtered. And here we are, the worst milk brand in the UK, Cravenala Whole Milk. Not just their filtered range, but specifically their whole milk variant is marketed as premium quality. Cravenala represents everything wrong with modern dairy. It's over-processed milk stripped of beneficial properties, marketed as premium, and sold at inflated prices to customers who think they're buying quality. The filtering process is the core problem. Milk is forced through ceramic filters to remove bacteria and extend shelf life. This sounds good until you understand what else gets removed or damaged. A food scientist explained, the filtering process removes not just harmful bacteria, but beneficial bacteria too. It affects the protein structure, it impacts vitamin content. You're getting biologically dead milk that lasts longer but provides less nutritional value. The milk can last up to 3 weeks unopened. Real fresh milk doesn't last 3 weeks. It's meant to be consumed within days of production. Cravenal's extended shelf life is achieved by destroying everything that makes milk a living, nutritious food. The source farms are intensive operations. Despite premium pricing, Cravenal doesn't use organic milk, pasture-fed milk, or milk from higher welfare farms. The cows are kept in the same intensive conditions as budget milk cows. An industry insider revealed Cravenal buys standard milk from intensive farms, processes it aggressively, and charges premium prices. The filtering adds cost, which they pass to customers, along with a hefty profit margin. You're paying double for worse milk. The taste is distinctly artificial. It's sweeter than normal milk with an almost processed flavor. People often describe it as tasting creamy, but that's artificial sweetness from altered sugar ratios, not natural cream richness. The nutritional value is questionable. While Cravenal claims the same calcium and protein as regular milk, the bioavailability is affected by processing. Your body may not absorb these nutrients as effectively from ultra-filtered milk. The environmental impact is also worse than regular milk. The filtering process requires significant energy and specialized equipment. The carbon footprint per litre is higher than standard pasteurization. The company has also faced criticism for misleading marketing. They've claimed Cravenal is purer, without explaining that purity means removing beneficial bacteria along with harmful ones. They've implied superior quality without using superior source milk. When I tested Cravenal against fresh milk from a local dairy, the differences were dramatic. The local dairy milk was rich, creamy, and tasted like actual milk. The Cravenel was sweet, thin, and tasted processed. The local milk lasted 4 days before souring naturally. The Cravenal lasted 3 weeks without change, which is unnatural. The price is the final insult. Cravenal costs around £180 for 2 litres. You can buy organic pasture-fed milk from ethical suppliers for similar or lower prices. You're paying premium prices for inferior milk because of clever marketing. I sent samples of Cravenal and organic pasture-fed milk to a laboratory for analysis. The organic milk had higher levels of beneficial omega-3 fatty acids, more conjugated linoleic acid, and better vitamin content. The Cravenal had none of these benefits despite costing more. Stop buying these 8 brands immediately. They're selling you milk from intensive farms, heavily processed and nutritionally inferior. Instead, buy organic milk from brands like Yo Valley Organic or Waitrose Dutchie Organic. Better yet, find a local dairy that uses pasture-based farming. Look for labels saying organic, pasture-fed or grass-fed. Yes, quality milk costs more, but you're getting actual nutrition and supporting better farming practices. Your health and the welfare of dairy cows are worth the extra pound per week. Are you shocked by what goes into cheap milk? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this opened your eyes, share it with everyone you know. They're drinking this too. Subscribe for more food industry truth, because companies like these rely on you not knowing what you're really consuming. See you in the next one. Generated with https://come.ai